Well, what can you study at Macquarie? And the answer is just about everything. Everything from its really excellent business programs through to law and IT. The sciences are very strong here. Psychology is excellent. Education is very, very strong here. And now, of course, recently it started teaching subjects like engineering, health sciences, medicine, basically a whole range. Our parking is expensive. G'day and welcome to A Life That Travels. I'm Rob Malicki, thanks for joining me. And today, I'm at Macquarie University in Sydney. And for me, this is a bit like coming home, because I did both my uni degrees at Macquarie Uni. Let's go and take a walk around and see what this place is all about. And like all of A Life That Travels videos, this is completely unbiased, got no agenda. This is just information that's going to help you work out whether or not this university is for you. Thanks for joining me. Let's get started. The university is located at about 16 kilometres from the centre of Sydney, but I swear sometimes you wouldn't quite believe it because this whole area, Macquarie Park, has developed so much in the last decade. It's now full of high-rise buildings, really sophisticated businesses and business parks. And what also makes connections to this place so easy is the fact that bus linkages are relatively good, but there is actually a train that runs directly here. It's a driverless train that connects you with Chatswood, which is a major centre, and then all the way out to the northwest of the city. So you actually have fantastic linkages to get you here. The thing that is a little bit difficult is parking. So if you're going to park or drive and park here, it's not much fun and it is expensive. But if you're taking public transport to get to Macquarie, it's amazing. And yet, when you're here, it's just full of the most amazing greenery and trees everywhere on campus. So you kind of get the best of both worlds here, being in a really high-tech vicinity with lots of businesses and technology, Macquarie Shopping Centre across the road, whilst actually studying amongst the trees. That sounds like a win-win to me. Well, just behind me here is the Macquarie Business School, and MBS is basically the accumulation of the MBA program here at Macquarie University, the Graduate School of Management, the Applied Finance Centre, as well as the Business Department. And this is one of the areas of strength for the university. If you look back through the years, Applied Finance has been exceptionally strong at Macquarie, as well as things like actuarial studies. The MBA at one stage, probably about 10 years ago, was one of the strongest in the Asia Pacific and remains a very, very good degree, as well as Bachelor of Commerce and Bachelors of Business, Masters of Commerce as well. Very good programs here at the university. So for business studies, this is a really good place to be. One of the other advantages it has is that with the PACE units and the other sort of degree structures, in terms of being able to fit an internship and practical experiences into your degree, you've got lots of opportunities here at Macquarie. Well, the metro station here on campus, literally on the corner of campus, has only recently reopened at time of filming, and the transport connections here are actually absolutely amazing. Driverless trains, which means you have fantastic connections from here through to lots of other parts of the city, including places where you can get accommodation much more cheaply than around the university itself, which is obviously an advantage. And they run every few minutes, which is a super massive advantage for the institution. Well, every student at Macquarie University, and I reckon every student who's ever studied at Macquarie, will remember Macquarie Centre, right down to the ice skating rink and the plethora of facilities that you have here. You've got a full service supermarket in here, as many food eateries as you can possibly imagine, and then all of the sort of shopping and clothes and other outlets that you could imagine. Cinemas, ice skating. This place is phenomenal. And literally, when you're at the uni, it's on your doorstep. We go across here and we're right in the middle of the uni. So I've talked about the fact that Macquarie is very well linked in with business. Here you can see Panasonic located literally right on the edge of campus, and one of the previous Vice Chancellors, Di Yerbury, had done a phenomenal job in building those linkages between some of Australia and the world's top companies and bringing them here on campus, which at the time was quite unique. As a result, you now have companies like Procter & Gamble, You've got Cochlear, which is like basically one of the #1 hearing companies in the entire world. They're all located here on campus, and that really comes down to the fantastic work of that previous Vice-Chancellor. Also, everyone that has studied at Macquarie knows this walkway that goes from Macquarie Centre back into the campus itself, where I'm heading right now. And I'm sure many people would have fond memories of being swooped by magpies in the springtime. So if you were swooped by a magpie on this walkway, hit me up in the comments and let me know about your experience, because I certainly was swooped many, many times. What you can also see here is we've actually got some student accommodation literally right on campus. And one of the great things about Macquarie is the fact that you do have quite a number of residential colleges located either on campus or just off to the side. Dunmore Lang College just over here, Robert Menzies College, as well as the whole university village on the north side of the campus. So in terms of finding accommodation on campus, it's super easy. And this whole area, it has boomed in the last decade. So you have an absolute mass of new apartment complexes and residential options for living in and around the uni. It's definitely not the cheapest part of Sydney anymore, because you do get a huge number of students coming to study here, but because you have so many businesses, the shopping centre, the university, and all this accommodation around, there's also plenty of casual work options, which makes it great for students. In recent times, the university's also added on the Macquarie University Hospital and Clinic, and has greatly enhanced its health sciences department. Now teaches a whole lot of very sophisticated advanced medical degrees, as well as some of your more intro level health sciences, which is new for this institution relatively, but also reflects that this has always been an institution that has tried to innovate. And for those of you who've watched a few of these review videos, you know that I love to talk about stable leadership, and Macquarie was phenomenally lucky from like the late 80s through to the mid-2000s to have had the same Vice-Chancellor, Di Yerbury, who had an amazing vision and ambition for Macquarie and managed to lift it from a pretty average institution to being genuinely world-class. And a lot of the stuff that you see around campus these days is still kind of like an enduring part of that vision and hard work that Di Yerbury put in. So the institution has a lot to thank her for. Well, this is like the computing and technology part of campus. Once again, set amongst the trees, but offers some very good degrees in the computing sciences here at Macquarie. This is Wally's Walk. This is we never called it Wally's Walk in my day, but I decided to call it Wally's Walk. There you go. This is kind of like the central backbone of the university that runs literally from the southern end all the way up to the northern end. And here we're at like Earth and Planetary Sciences area. For those of you who studied at Macquarie in the past, I'm right next to E7A. They've now renumbered all these buildings. They've got building numbers rather than letters. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I guess from a student perspective, it's maybe a little bit easier to find your way around, which is probably a good thing. Being set amongst the trees means you just end up with these absolutely beautiful little nooks and crannies in the outdoors, full of the most incredible sculptures and places to chill out. And that's one of the things that really is an advantage for Macquarie. It has such an amazing campus vibe. You're in amongst nature, able to hang out and chill with other students and do your work. It's pretty unique amongst many institutions. There's such a flashback. This is the middle of E7B, and now graduates graduands will walk across that stage to finish their degree. It's kind of like coming home. But better, coming home and finding it renovated in much better condition than when you left. Oh, it's so good to be back. Mason Theatre. I had my first ever class at uni, sitting in the back row up there, Earth and Planetary Sciences. The lecturer opened up with a joke that he'd probably told in every first lecture in his 50 years at the university. And we all laughed. And then that was the only joke in the entire 13-week course. So many good memories. Well, as you're about to see, university is still doing a lot of building. It's actually completely renovating its new student central area. And I'll give you a look over the fence. In there, this central courtyard is going to be a brand new central student area. Looks like it's still probably about a year away at this stage, time of filming, but university's constantly updating its facilities. That's always a good thing. At the time of filming, you've still got this sort of temporary area set up for like cafes, food, that sort of stuff. We'll take a walk through here. You can see various eateries and cafes, food stuff, so certainly plenty of choice here for students. It's not that pretty, but it's only temporary. I think a lot of universities have handled major works less effectively than this. Often they've just kind of left students out in the dry with nowhere to go and eat, or more importantly, drink. Whereas Macquarie has actually accommodated for that, so respect to the uni. The sculptures that you see everywhere on campus, once again, accumulation over decades by previous Vice-Chancellor or Vice-Chancellors. And in fact, Macquarie University's campus is considered to be the largest sculpture garden in the entire Southern Hemisphere, because literally scattered across this entire place are just countless amazing works. And everywhere you turn, you go around little corners and find these incredible little sculptures there, which are amazing. And up here in the back corner of campus, you've actually got a space observatory, astronomy on campus, and a whole facility at the back if you actually want to see Australian wildlife, kangaroos, wallabies, right up there in the back corner, in the very most northeast corner of the university. You actually sneak up to the back fence and look and get a real life glimpse at real life wildlife. One of those unique features of being in amongst the bush. And these are one of the more unique features of Macquarie, the infamous Ibis you find all over Sydney, sometimes called bin chickens because those very long beaks are absolutely ideal for getting into garbage bins. The ibises are just like an abomination of nature, aren't they? They look like some sort of prehistoric dinosaur. You know, probably perfectly adapted for life in and around the Australian landscape, and now just happen to be perfectly adapted to living in and around humans, digging stuff out of our garbage bins. And just on the backside of the gym recreation area, Macquarie invested in some really nice updated gym and swimming infrastructure about a decade ago, and you've actually got very good gym facilities and a full-sized Olympic swimming pool just up the back there. So if you're into your sports, this is a good uni for you. Not far outside the campus grounds, full set of sports fields as well. So regardless of what sport you're into, plenty of different clubs and societies, and an active sporting scene here on campus. Macquarie Warriors. Well, what can you study at Macquarie? And the answer is just about everything. Everything from its like really excellent business programs through to law and IT. The sciences are very strong here. Psychology is excellent. Education is very, very strong here. And now, of course, recently it started teaching subjects like engineering, health sciences, medicine, basically a whole range. So regardless of what you're interested in, the nice thing about coming to a place like this is that you do have a lot of choice of the various sorts of electives that you can take here, which allows you to get a taste of many different things. So if you're not sure what you want to study, start off with like a general degree, arts or science, try lots of different topics, and then narrow down from there. And this is definitely a good place for that kind of approach. And Macquarie Theatre is the biggest theatre on campus, and I would have loved to have been able to get in and have a bit of a look at how it looks these days, but not to be. Almost guaranteed you're going to be in Macquarie Theatre at some point in your first year, because a lot of the big first year classes are taught in there. You know, the old C5C building. And once again, this is really nice in terms of the feel. You have these like lovely courtyards everywhere. And once students are back on campus in just a few weeks' time, these places are just pumping full of energy as people are sort of like starting their classes and hanging around, studying. It's a magic place to be. This is a really nice little space at Student Connect. You've got photocopiers, plenty of space just to like meet up with people and either study as an individual or study in groups, plug in and charge, have a nap in a nap pod. It really is just an extraordinary little setup. So the uni has done a really good job of like rethinking some of its older building spaces to make them more student and study friendly. And it has to be commended for that because, you know, this kind of setup doesn't come cheap for an institution. So they really have invested in the student experience. This study space is actually open 24 hours. So all you need to do is swipe your student card and you can get access here, which obviously is very valuable when you want to be crunching through assignments towards the end of semester. This is the Student Connect area. So a place where you can come in and get all of the advice that you need. It's basically like a one-stop shop for advice about academic courses and other things. Get things done. Student cashier is here. It's kind of like a central student area. This is actually the old library building, which has been once again like completely redone to make it a little bit more user-friendly, and so that students can access all the facilities that they want in one place. Good job. Being a comprehensive university, you do have access to undergraduate, postgraduate and research programs here. And Macquarie University genuinely turns out world-class research in a great number of disciplines. The university itself is ranked usually just at the sort of top end of the 200 to 250 band in terms of world rankings, world university rankings, which puts in the top couple of percent, top 1 to 2% of universities worldwide. And in Australia, it has ranked inside the top 10 or very close to, so like somewhere between like 9 and 14 on the various Australian university rankings. So it's an institution that ranks very, very well. Now, the caveat I always make about rankings is that they're very general, and you always need to look into the detail of the particular discipline area where you want to study. So some unis might be absolutely amazing in terms of their overall ranking, but in some individual discipline areas, they're not so strong, and vice versa. A university that necessarily doesn't rank very well overall might have some world-class areas, so always look into the details. And the best way to do that is to jump on the Australian government's compared website, compare ed website, like compared.gov.au, where you can, .edu.au, compared.edu.au, where you can compare various institutions and discipline areas. And what's amazing about that is that it's actually feedback from real university students, people just like you, and the experience that they've had in specific discipline areas. It covers everything from things like degrees, employability, starting salaries, satisfaction, teaching and learning, everything you can possibly imagine. So it really allows you to compare institutions very, very well. Other ranking stuff that you need to know about Macquarie, it's no longer under 50 years of age, but when it was just a couple of years ago, it was ranked inside the top 50 universities worldwide for young universities under 50. It's now no longer under 50, but it's ranked as high as about 34th in the world amongst young universities. And individual discipline areas such as business are accredited by things like AACSB, which is a very well-renowned international accreditation for business schools. And plenty of world-class discipline areas are taught here at Macquarie, so definitely worth looking into the detail to see if your area of interest actually aligns with one of the institutional strengths here. Now, this is the bike hub. You can lock your bike in there, and then here alongside you've got lockers and showers, so you can have your stuff stored here, ride to uni and have a shower and then go to class. That's pretty awesome, isn't it? Macquarie's got a wonderful campus vibe, and a lot of that's got to do with its very multicultural background. Draws students from all over Sydney, from all of the kind of cultural diaspora and wonderful cultural backgrounds that Sydney has to offer, as well as from all around the world. Quite a decent international student population here, which really makes it a very inclusive, diverse place, and that's a good thing. If you want to be involved in things outside of class, tons of options for you here in terms of clubs and societies and sport and the like. And one of the things that I'm really passionate about is your access to international study opportunities, which through Macquarie are pretty good. The exchange program is strong, availability of things like the leadership programs through the Global Leadership Program and PACE, the Professional and Community Engagement Program, which gives you access to internships and many other things like that. Volunteering opportunities is really fantastic. And those are things that you really need to think about when you're going to university, because these days, increasingly, just having a job, having a degree is not the thing that's really going to get you the job that you want. It's all that extra stuff on your resume, all the soft skills that you can add that are really going to stand you in good stead to get the job that you actually want. So definitely think about things like student exchange, internships, volunteering, getting involved in clubs and societies, because those skills are the things that employers really want to see these days. Good thing about Macquarie, lots of access to them. Well, what other sorts of things can you study here? A lot of the traditional sorts of university subject areas are very strong here at Macquarie. So things like arts and humanities, you've got plenty of language subjects that are available on offer. Ancient history is very strong here, modern history. And then on the other side of the sciences, like your traditional sciences, biology, chemistry, life and environmental sciences are also very, very strong here. And the wonderful thing about starting a degree where you've got a lot of flexibility and you can choose different subjects is that you get to choose across all of those different subject areas. And that was one of the foundations of the Macquarie philosophy in terms of subject areas, is giving students some flexibility in those broad undergraduate degrees. It was such a privilege to be back and walking around Macquarie and checking out the incredible advancements that the institution has made. It's come such a long way from the time when I studied here, and that's always a good thing. And once again, a big personal thank you to Professor Di Yerbury for having put this place on such an amazing trajectory. She really deserves so much public acknowledgement for that, and I'm very grateful. If you study here, I think you're going to have a good experience, that's for sure. Could I call this a 100% unbiased review? Probably not, because I've got so many good memories here myself. I'm Rob Malicki, and I'll see you next time on The Life That Travels. Thanks for joining me.